Hey, so you think this is a risk?
For some people, absolutely.
I'm gonna let's just go. I enjoyed this.
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It was. I thought it was bad acting.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that for sure.
That's where I struggled.
But here's what I liked.
Mark Wahlberg.
And I'm gonna try to keep this spoil free at the beginning here.
They go onto a plane.
Right. That's it.
That's it.
So what I like is there was no fluffy, weird, any social agendas.
Nope.
At all. Bad guy.
Bad guy.
Good guy.
Good guy.
Hey, can I get some fruit snacks over here?
Flight risk.
Guy that doesn't know if he should be bad or should be good.
And the flight instructor.
Right. And some humor.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
That was good.
You know, there's some challenges for these two.
It was good.
The other cool thing they did in this film was they talked about it being about an hour and a half flight. The movie was an hour and a half.
Yes. And Mel Gibson's shortest directorial whatever ever.
Well, this is a short film by a lot of standards.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's impressive that it's only an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, and that's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
That's where they get it wrong. And
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it a lot.
Let's make it 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Right, when it could have been 20 minutes.
On a 45-minute flight.
But you know, you look at Mark Wahlberg as.
Mark Wahlberg was by far my favorite part of this film.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
They don't come from the same background. They don't even like one another. They just as soon punch each other in the face. But you put them in an adverse situation, and they form a bond and they form a love for one another.
Hey, thanks for being here. I've been talking about movies with my friends for a very long time, collecting movies for a very long time, and I really enjoy it. And I want to talk to you about movies. Let me know what you think of the podcast and about the movie we're reviewing in the comments. Give us about 5 minutes and let us know what you think. I'd really appreciate that and cannot wait to hear from you. Enjoy. See, this is the kind of movie that you'd get back in the 80s.
I can believe that.
You know, really.
Yeah.
Like, pretty simple, pretty direct. I liked how they did things that you had to use your imagination.
And the other guy's a psycho.
You know, you got the voice on the other end, you know, saying things, and you're picturing, like, what does he look like?
Yeah.
You know, is he this...
You sometimes don't ever even see those characters. Like,
Right.
at the end, you don't even see
Right.
the director person or the female director.
No, right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I like that. You have to use your imagination. You have to. Is he a tall, skinny guy? Is he you know?
Well, because the thing too I think that makes it work really well is besides the female flight person has a shady past. Like nobody had met those people anyways, so they would have had to been in the same shoe of like, I don't know what they look like.
Right. And so I like that. You know, I mean, maybe because I'm old.
Yeah.
And that's
You
fine.
sure are.
Yeah, I am. I get it. It goes. These kinds of things go with the territory.
I think for me where the struggle was, and I don't know how they would have done anything different. Like you said, you don't see the other people talking on the phone, and so you get some of these shots where they're kind of just looking out, listening, and like some of that, like the acting wasn't believable to me because it all has to be expressive, it all has to be timing, and like I didn't always fully believe the expressions that were being had based off the conversations that were being had between the characters.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. So when you have let's talk about budget for a second.
Let's talk about budget.
Yeah, you have a
Tell me about the numbers.
$26 million budget.
Okay.
They've done just about $28 million so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So not great.
Well, it amazes me that many people have watched it.
This is it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing out right now.
That's true.
I mean, Wicked is still out, I think, and a few other weird ones.
I bet Sonic is still out too.
Yeah, I think Sonic is still out. So there's a little bit of competition there, of course, but I think Nosferatu is not out anymore. And
which
so
that was a really niche audience for.
It's a very niche audience, but so is this because it's rated R. So you're definitely having that kind of, you're competing with other rated R movies essentially because that's an adult audience.
Yeah.
But I didn't. This this actress, I sort of like, she seemed familiar.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know.
The dots weren't fully connected.
Yeah. Do you know where she's from? I did look it up.
Not right offhand.
Yeah, so she, Downtown Abbey is best known for.
Yes.
She did a lot of Downtown Abbeys.
Now that you say it.
Yeah.
I still didn't.
Well, I'd seen advertisements for it. I've never watched it.
Okay.
But,
the only person I know that is in Downtown Abbey is Professor McGonagall.
sure. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, so she's recognizable in that kind of sense to a lot of people.
Topher Grace.
His unique comedy.
Topher?
Yeah.
That was strange.
That's the way he is.
Want to talk about the beginning of the film?
Yeah.
It was odd.
Yeah.
It definitely was not what I was expecting. Because sometimes you can see a trailer, you can kind of understand what a film is, and kind of like understand how the introduction of the film may go. Starting in his apartment like that was not it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and making ramen.
Well, I think
with it
I think he was in a hotel on the run.
Yeah.
But
In Alaska.
Yeah.
Making ramen with a faulty microwave.
Right.
I don't think I've ever even seen that like type of microwave happen where it just shorts out, and if you bang it a few times, it starts going again.
That's because you're young.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
But have you ever seen a styrofoam ramen cup in a microwave?
I have.
Yeah.
I have seen that.
It does not last.
No.
It
Yeah.
just shrivels and
And
shrinks
the
up.
moose.
Yeah.
It was such a strange beginning.
It was. And I think that had to be on purpose.
Sometimes I struggled to know if this was like a comedy or if it was a thriller or what it was fully going for at times.
Yeah, I
That was the
wonder-
other thing that I struggled with.
Action, crime, drama, thriller.
Because
What they have this marked as.
Topher was being Topher, which I understand. But like his character didn't fit in the dynamic of the film all the time for me either.
Yeah.
Of like telling jokes. And like, again, I wouldn't mind if there was some like jokes going back and forth, but it was like all of it felt forced from one character. And again, it's hard because there's only really 3 actors in this movie. And so.
And I like that about it.
Yeah.
Like they weren't trying to establish a bunch of characters and do a shoddy job of it.
Yeah.
You know, it was that awkward, like socially awkward jokester.
Yeah.
You know, Topher Grace. And if you're in a room full of 30 people, it kind of works for 3 people.
Yeah.
But when you have 3 people, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's kind of like
It's
that,
real.
Yeah, that awkward, you know, he's still trying to be himself, but
Yeah.
he just doesn't. So I kind of, you know, that's kind of what I took from it. But I think we've talked a lot about actors, so I'm going to give the actor chemistry score. And see, I like the uniqueness of each of the 3 characters personally.
Yeah.
And I think that while they could have interacted a little bit more smoothly, I think that was part of kind of what I liked is that they didn't, because that's like real life scenarios.
Yeah.
Like when someone's trying to be.
None of them were meant to like each other because you had a convict.
Yes.
A person that's trying to murder said convict.
Yes.
And then your marshal.
Yes. So while it's not a dynamically high score, I think it's maybe higher than what is deserved. But with this kind of film, I think that it was really, really good, and it's a 3.9.
Okay.
With their actor chemistry.
I really enjoyed Mark Wahlberg's character. He was completely nuts.
Did you read anything about it?
No.
Okay. He like ad-libbed. I thought you'd say a couple things. But
Oh, no.
Well,
I was curious. You said that, so I was just curious what the background was before we get distracted.
Mel Gibson said that he ad-libbed a lot of his lines, and they had to end up making. They had to cut a lot of stuff out because he said it was like really sick, but we hint at it.
Yeah.
So Mark Wahlberg was just throwing out this evil bad guy, and so
Yeah.
they would cut out different parts, but they'd all be like reacting to,
Yeah.
and so that
Which you can
he
believe.
was,
Yeah.
so that
He
was
was
cool.
by far.
Yeah.
It was cool to see. I mean, the reason I wanted to watch this film was Mark Wahlberg to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it was interesting to see him in a different type of role. And the range from what my expectations of him as an actor that he showed on this was incredible. Between his accents, between his quick movements, his like quick change from like, oh, like a buddy to like, oh, you understand now I'm going to be twisted, was incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, so his range to me, like I could watch, I did enjoy it because he was twisted and it was dark.
Right.
And so those are hard things for me to resonate with sometimes. But it was great. But the other two I really struggled with. And so I gave it a 3-1.
Sure.
Mark Wahlberg, great. I like the Indian pilot. Like, he did great. I think the chemistry between him and Michelle was incredible. And again, it was probably even more so incredible because it was all, one-sided.
Yeah.
You're listening to it. So that was really cool. But the rest of it was pretty brutal in my mind.
It's okay to be wrong every now and then.
That's true. That's what my wife tells me.
It's a good thing she's never wrong.
That's right. She's straight as an arrow.
A couple things, too. This was filmed in 22 days.
I feel like a film like this, you have to.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go quick because hour and a half film, it's all about, again, maybe some of the relationships didn't go well because none of these people have interacted before.
Right. And one other quick note, he shaved his head for real.
Oh, really?
Even though he had, significant makeup on, he did shave his head.
And Mark Wahlberg,
and so
you could tell, was all in on this film.
He was, yeah. And I think he's all in on pretty much everything.
Right.
And that's the thing that's solid about you know what you get with Mark, You get the funky bunch.
You get the funky bunch. Marky Mark.
Cinematography.
There were planes that went through ice.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
That was crazy.
That was.
And some would say unnecessary.
I can see if you're going to, even maybe knock one of the landing gear wheels off or something like that.
Fine.
But for that whole thing, the way they did that, yeah, I agree. I'm not going to give it away, but
we will be talking about spoilers, and it's probably going to be coming in cinematography because it needs to be talked about within cinematography.
Yeah.
But we can wait till the tail end of cinematography because we are talking about cinematography right now.
We are. The way it looks on the screen.
The way it looks on the screen.
Yeah.
Is how you would define cinematography.
I can't believe how did they get all the cameras and everything in this plane and it was a small plane. It was like the Office style. It looked so real. Was it real?
All right. Now I feel my leg being slightly pulled.
It was funny. Like, obviously, they're, green screen and whatever, and some of it was super obvious.
Yeah.
The repeated mountains in the back and things. But
there's only like 7 mountains that exist.
Right, yeah. It was pretty funny.
It's like when you just have, it's like the old school Scooby-Doos where you just have like the same background that just continues to go on and on and on.
I'll let you go. I'll let you finish, and then I'll...
it looked decent for what it was. It wasn't anything too crazy. It was all, I would say, more practical with the things that happened within the plane, like the handcuffs and stuff like that. The end scene took me out of things. The moose took me out of it for a little bit because I don't understand why the moose was there. It was a quick jump scare, but the moose did not look good.
The moose didn't look good. That's very true.
And even you look at when they were getting into the plane, when they did some of those wide shots for whatever reason, did not look realistic.
Right.
And so cinematography was not great. I liked how they did the coloring. Everything looked like that. You could see what you need to see during the whole film. Some of the when they did the ship as a landmark was kind of cool. But whenever they tried to go outside of the airplane, the cinematography, I think, struggled.
Yeah.
So I gave it a 3-2.
Okay.
I think there was a lot of...
Yeah, you didn't like this one, did you?
No, it was not my favorite.
Yeah.
For me, if you don't have good actor chemistry, and there's only 3 people in the film, it's hard to fully get into it. And to be honest, I feel like even some of the cinematography stuff is just, it was hard.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at a budget of $26 million,
Yeah,
it's tough.
it is.
There's just no way around that.
But there's things that you don't have to do that
Right.
they try to put into it.
Right.
And that's where I'm like,
I think they thought that Post would do a little bit better job.
yeah.
I think when they were shooting inside the plane, I think was really good. The background and a lot of shots just wasn't quite as clear and as good as it could have been or should have been, which comes with money.
It does.
Unfortunately. I mean, you can take it how it is. They're trying to focus on the inside, but the way the background was kind of takes away from some of that too, in my opinion.
Yep.
It did overall look realistic, though.
Yeah.
Imagine the windows essentially being like, fogged over type thing.
Can we talk about Topher Grace not noticing a knife?
Yeah, see, that's a couple, that's writing.
Yeah.
That's dumb.
No, I know that's
like it should have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Totally agree.
So it's just there's so many things like that. I was like, it's so silly.
Yeah, it was. But I gave it a 3.2, so not not great. But again, it was worth my 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I think as we get into overall entertainment, which is next, I think.
yeah,
this
what
is-
did you want to give away?
Oh yeah, CGI. Mark Wahlberg getting just hit by the plane, like even
The
fire truck. That's
yeah,
what it was.
Yeah.
He did this weird roll into a Spider-Man pose just to get
Right.
rocked.
Yeah.
That was so stupid.
That was great. That was the best part of the film.
and this is where I struggled. This is
bad guy gets it.
I can't tell.
Smushed.
This is a film. If it was just pure satire, I would have enjoyed.
Sure.
If the goal of the film was to make fun and poke at things that happen within thriller films, and that's how it ended, perfect.
Yeah.
Because again, I understand it's a comedy. It's like when you watch like scary movies or even Scream, where it's a mix of like, oh, we're going to make fun of tropes. We're still going to have some thriller aspects of it, but it understands what identity it is as a film, and that's where I struggle with this film. Is I don't think it fully understood what it wanted to be as a film.
Yeah, I can buy that. However, if you're going to have most films, either A, you don't know that he got squished. Like they sort of make you use your imagination. Or B, he lives somehow after being shot.
Palpatine returned.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
all these weird things, right? So I like how it was just squish. He's done. However,
Are we talking about the other end?
fire trucks would never ever, or ambulances, follow at the end of a runway. They would be such a long ways away.
Yeah.
And then come in after the plane stops.
Yeah.
They would not be coming behind it. It's just not the way it works.
I also struggled with the assassin at the end.
Yeah.
There's just so many things where I'm like, could have been done even just slightly better. I don't know how they would have done that better. Again, because it's an hour and a half film.
They wanted to trap. They did that to trap the mole.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they did that.
But you already,
2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they did it perfectly, but
Yeah.
they set it so that they can have another film.
You think there's going to be a second one?
Maybe not specifically like Flight Risk 2.
Boat risk.
See? I mean,
Train risk. Train risk would be the route I would go.
they left it where they still have to get this, director, mole, and all that kind of stuff. So,
I bet that one lady is not actually dead.
Maybe. Right. Yeah. What's
Do
her
like
name?
a Nick Fury type thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they said I was assassinated, but really I just hid under the
Van
sewers
Sant.
and met these Ninja Turtles, and they kept me
Exactly.
safe.
Exactly.
Became a news reporter.
Overall entertainment for you.
See, this is where it is a little bit higher. I was pretty entertained because,
Yeah.
again, I enjoyed watching Mark Wahlberg. I think he did a good job of making the film interesting, and stuff like we talked about with the flight instructor and the way that they came back all the time. And so I gave it 3.6.
Okay.
I was pretty entertained. I watched this with my wife and her boss, and they were both pretty disappointed. I was like, that makes sense. But,
Yeah. I can see that.
Where are you at?
Well,
Is it going on the shelf?
it's going to go on the shelf. Nice. 4.0.
Ooh.
It's not better than a 4.0.
Barely made the cut.
Barely makes it. Yeah. Barely makes it. It is. It's worth 90 minutes of your time. I really think it is. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. We've got stuff coming out that I'm really worried about. Like, it's not going to be all that great, you know. Marvel stuff coming up, and it's just looking pretty rough.
I am semi-optimistic.
It's getting kind of some bad film publicity here too.
Love Hurts, I'm excited for. It's like the rom-com with the Goonies.
The Hard Eyes one? It's a horror.
That's why I recognized it right when you said it. Yeah.
No.
Maybe. There's going to be nothing else to watch. Except we got to review the Joker still, so there's that.
Yeah.
I'm still not optimistic about that.
No. But yeah, it's worth the time. I don't know. There's some stuff coming out that I hope is pretty good. Should be a decent spring, and
we got Captain America,
possibly summer,
Thunderbolts. July is going to be pretty packed.
Yeah.
Because you got, I think, Jurassic Park or Jurassic. I think it's Jurassic. Maybe it's World.
Jurassic World.
It is the World. They wanted the World franchise, and then you got Superman, and you got Fantastic Four.
Next year.
This year.
They're going to push that out this year? Superman?
All three of those are coming out this year in July.
I'll believe it when I see it.
They already released a trailer. Did you not see the trailer?
How many times have they pushed back things, though, in the last 4 years after releasing a trailer?
That's true.
A lot of films.
I think there's too much.
Snow White?
I think DC's got too much on Superman to push it back anything
that
more
they'll
than
just have to do it.
They'll have to do it. So,
even with all the fires and stuff out there?
Yeah, because Superman has ice. He'll be fine. And he's got Crypto, the super dog.
Right. That was weird.
It's in the comics.
Yeah.
Crypto, the super dog. I'm intrigued to see how.
I'm just saying.
I'm intrigued to see what the DC universe is going to be. And Fantastic Four is set in an alternative universe.
Yeah, they've been talking about that
for a long time.
For a while, so
yeah,
they better get it right.
I'm concerned. I think it could be good, but there's an option that it's not.
If they're waking up to what people want, they know how to do it.
And it does look like it's going to comic book accurate versus
social agenda,
or hey, we have to get this film out to tie into the bigger universe and everything else like that. I think Fantastic Four has a chance because it's in its own world. I mean, obviously, it's still going to have to connect to everything else because that's how the universe works. But as a movie, I'm optimistic because it doesn't have to include Spider-Man. It doesn't have to include the Thunderbolts. It can just have these four characters. Eventually, they're going to be into the MCU, 616. But they got time. And Galactus. Galactus is the film.
Yeah.
World Eater. That's Flight Risk.
Leave us a comment. We want to get you involved. We appreciate the messages, the suggestions on different films to watch and stuff as well, because we're not tied to any kind of agenda. I mean, we're just having fun. We love to watch movies.
Especially the person who said that we should be doing Christmas films all year.
I know. That's great.
I am down.
Yeah, that's cool. That was
cool. You don't have to tell me twice to watch more Christmas films.
Right on. That was cool. That was really cool. So, yeah, make sure you let us know what you think. Leave us a comment. Hammer the like button. And we will have you see us soon.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Peace.
Hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bells, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us. We appreciate it.